My thanks go to Gail for suggesting this lesson. She's learning YMCA by the Village People, and that chorus bit uses what she's calling disco doubles. Maybe she coined that phrase, I don't know, but she's talking about this. So we're going to look at that technique, break it down, and I'm going to show you a few other bass lines that use this and how to improvise around it. So here we go, look. This is a PDF you can download by following the link below. And this is the rhythm of YMCA, that chorus section. Let's break things down. So I'm on an F sharp, that's the second fret of the E string. And first of all, we're using an octave shape, and for everything in this lesson, we're using this shape, and you probably know it already, but in case you don't, F sharp is on the second fret of the E string. So go 2 frets higher in pitch, 2 strings higher in pitch, and you get that octave shape. It's a classic, especially in disco. Most people will pluck using the index on the lower sounding pitch and the longer middle finger for the higher one, okay? I on the notation stands for index, middle for middle. So you've got your index and middle fingers. And here's the pattern. It's absolutely imperative to get that down as well as you can at slow tempos. A word of warning, if you're out of practice like I am, you will quickly start to feel aches and pains, and that's a good sign to stop for the day. Okay, don't go through the pain barrier with this. With the octave, I'm using first finger on the lower note and little finger on the higher note. I find that that lessens the stretch, and there is some degree of bend in the wrist, but I'm trying to minimize that. Make sure you're holding the bass properly so that it's not too strenuous. So very slowly we've got this. So that's index, index, followed by middle. Index, index, middle. My wrist is just where the bass is sort of nice and smooth here. I'm just resting on that. We want to be very dexterous here. There's lots of moving around, so don't be stuck anywhere. I'm not really anchoring anywhere. Well, I'm plucking the E string, so maybe a little bit of that humbucker that I have on this bass, but you know, sort of hanging in the middle of, it's fine. I'm anchored here. So after that, we've got index, middle, and that's the pattern. Couple of other things. You don't want this. The notes need to be nice and punchy, and that comes from this hand. So you fret nice and clean right by that fret there, and when you finish the note, you just come up and the note stops, and that's in both hands. You can use your third finger, but like I say, try and use that little finger. And it's this hand that is controlling the funk. It's controlling the note length. Once more. Notice how slow I'm doing this, and notice I'm not doing it with a drum beat. With a drum beat, it sounds like this. Do bring that in as and when you want, but slow first. Now the next exercise is just removing the 16th, and you've got this underlying pattern of 8th notes that goes like this. Index, 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 middle. So practice that, but really what we want to practice at first is this string skip. So we're skipping over the A string and just using the index finger. That finger's having to do a lot of work. The longer middle finger can just be ready and waiting for that next 16th note. And just waiting there, look, it's just hovering. It's really that index finger that's doing a lot. Once you've got this hand shape sorted, well, you can just leave your hand set in that shape, and it's really this one that's doing a lot of work. You can practice this very slowly in your own time. Now, this isn't a YMCA lesson, but I do just want to show you something that's actually going to help you in a whole bunch of other tunes. So it goes like this. Right, now, there's a reason why I just learnt this before this lesson. There's a reason why I can understand that and know that really, really well. If you're taking my From Beginner to Bassist course, you might recognize this. If not, I'll put a link below. It's got this pattern in it. So this is F sharp major. This is sort of a slight tangent that you might be used to in my lessons. I like to go a bit deeper into things. We will be using that technique the whole way through. But look, that song is in F sharp major. You really should know that scale. I'm not going to go too into the patterns, but you should know that. If I reorganize that scale into 3 notes per string, I get... I'll stop there just to the 6th note. Very easy to learn pattern. We're on frets 2, 4, 6 on the E string, 2, 4, 6 on the A string. It's the same. Using that octave pattern, we start... I'm going to label them, right? They have got names, but I'm just going to label them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm just going to shout to the note that I'm going to. So 1 with the octave pattern. So that's, you know, that 2 across, 2 up 1. And with that rhythm. Now I'm going from 5 chromatically up to 6. That's what that means, just fret by fret. Same thing, chromatically up to the 2. Five. And then it does this. E octaves. F. Lots of chromatic leading into the notes, right? I love that pattern. It's used hundreds of times in songs. You could learn that and learn millions of songs that way. So you can just practice doing something. You make up your own thing as well, by the way. Okay, just using that pattern. I know I'm speeding up the pattern now, but like I said before, if you're new to this, it's all about learning how to become more dexterous with that. You've got that movement. Just practice that. You can practice that just on the F sharp or moving through that pattern I just taught you. Another song that uses that exact same disco doubles technique Gail was talking about is Dance, Dance, Dance by Chic, played by Bernard Edwards, probably on something like this, late 70s Music Man Stingray. This is in F, so F minor, so we go down to F, first fret, E string. You could go, and by all means do practice this, to the B flat on the first fret of the A string. No problem. You just have to move your plucking hand fingers to 2 different strings. So that makes it easier on this hand that doesn't have to move. If you do this way, you have to shift that fretting hand. So there's always a compromise, and there's no real wrong or right. Do what you like. So it's the same rhythm and the same technique. I think there's a little slide at the end, but the rhythms, if you listen very closely, and I recommend you do, to the original, you'll hear all kinds of different rhythms going on, and you know, what a great bass player Bernard Edwards was, one of the greatest of all times, and he would just make stuff up. Things like that. Just getting a little ghost note in there. I'm getting ahead of myself, but that's another tune you can practice. Then there were 2 others that sprung to mind, using octaves, sort of disco doubles, but maybe notching things up a little bit more. If you think of the double as the 2/16ths, then when we come to River People by Weather Report, played by Jaco Pastorius, you've got almost like a double-double. So it's this. So it's a little bit more difficult, but I'm going to teach you this one as well. So the same pattern, it's brilliant, isn't it? Octaves. And a similar technique, just a little bit more involved. We're going E to D, fret 7 to 5 on the A string with the octave pattern. And I'm slowing it down here. Now there are two things going on here. The right hand and the left hand, the fretting and the plucking hands, both need to be dexterous here. They're both moving around, and this is where timing comes in. Ironically, you have to slow things down to speed them up, but very slow. See the shift there? And really the hand is just set in this shape. This isn't too bad, it's not really moving too much, but it's just about the timing. Index middle, index middle again. Now slowing that right down, as soon as the middle finger plucks on that A string, make sure that your index finger is on its way to the G string. For me, if I just move here, I'm exaggerating the movement, but you can see how I'm pivoting about that thumb on the E string in this case. You can't be too set or stuck in your ways. If you're too muted and too anchored, which is usually a decent technique, you're not going to get there, okay? So you need to free everything up. Relax. I am out of practice, you can hear that. But you can do something like that, go as fast as you can. Use a metronome, use a drum beat. So we go. Now here, it's the same thing, just going fret 5 to 3 on the E string, A to G. A similar thing happens here with the fretting hand. As soon as so I'm on the D here. There. As soon as I am on the little finger on the high D, the first finger is on its way ready to play that A. Slowed down, it looks like this. Also look for that first finger. It's already reaching and I'm sliding. That really is the key to efficient technique and being able to play fast on bass. I don't really care what technique it is. It's slowing things down and studying the mechanics of what your hands and your fingers need to do, and just relaxing and speeding it up by playing slowly, getting the muscles working at that slow speed, getting the foundation solid and then building on top of that. Last bass line, Right on Time by Chili Peppers. Flea is playing this, and this is a really relentless bass line, and this is C sharp minor. I sometimes will use my third finger here instead of the little finger because the frets are narrower here. That's completely up to you. It's very similar to River People, it's a bit faster though. It's very much about this hand this time, moving quickly. This is like a machine, this one. Exactly the same technique as before. Right, so you've got all of that notated on that PDF for free without a sign up. Oh, by the way, if you get anything from these lessons, if you enjoy the downloads, give this video a like, share, spread the word, and definitely subscribe to the channel. Loads of people don't subscribe when they watch. That really helps the channel. I'm going to finish by showing you what I did at the very intro when I was improvising. And again, that was just a case of me going, right, I literally, before pressing record on all of this equipment I have here, it's just like, right, what shall I do? And I just arbitrarily chose a key. The same starting note as YMCA, but in minor. And that was really it. I know all the shapes. F sharp, natural minor. All of this stuff I say, you know, you need to know that. Again, that course from beginner to bassist, or my music theory for bass players course goes through all of this stuff. You need to know that off by heart. And then you can apply that disco doubles technique and the octave pattern to any of those notes, and it will sound good. So I'll stick to that one pattern. In fact, just those first 6 notes, and I'll do it with a drum beat, and I'll make something up. Okay, I mean, I could go for hours doing that. Do you see what I was doing there? Just quite randomly moving between any of those notes, using octaves, using this disco doubles technique, trying to be as much in time as I can to that. And all that stuff is just fills using the minor pentatonic, and that works. Now I'm going to leave you with this lesson to go into that kind of thing a bit more, the minor pentatonic fills and how you can create bass lines using that. If you do have any questions, let me know. Thanks very much for getting this far and for watching my lessons and for subscribing and all of that stuff. I never really thank you for that, but I do appreciate your support. Thanks very much. See you next time.